Does Monday at the office feel like a storm? Not with Microsoft Copilot. That feeling when Copilot gets everyone up to speed instantly? It's sunny again. When Copilot simplifies complex data so your teams can act, that sun's shining on a beach. And when Copilot uncovers hidden insights, you're on that beach with your people, and you find buried treasure. That's Microsoft Copilot. Learn more at Microsoft.com/AI for all.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When I called up Harold Isaac, a journalist in Haiti, the only way I could tell I was reaching him in the middle of a crisis was by the way he dialed into our Zoom. There was no hello, no can you hear me, just this.
That I'm monitoring right now. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Thanks for the head up.
He was in the midst of a whole other call.
Sorry, guys. Hello?
It was as if there was so much news to report that Harold couldn't wait to start the next conversation.
It's been a crazy 2 weeks. Honestly, I've rarely been in such an intensity. I think the last time was with Jovenel Moise's death. You know, can you hear my dog barking? I'm gonna try.
I don't think I can, and I think it's fine.
You don't hear it.
I feel like you're in a conflict zone. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about the dog.
Yeah.
Harold doesn't like to be dramatic when he talks about Haiti. You can tell by the way he's laughing with me in this tape. But even Harold's got to admit, the last few weeks have been a lot. A rush of chaotic change. First, Haiti's gangs formed a sudden political alliance. And then Haiti's prime minister said he would resign. Now, it's a little unclear who's running this country.
The security situation continues to deteriorate in Haiti. The country remains in a state of emergency, which was introduced after armed gangs freed nearly 4,000 prisoners from the capital's biggest jail.
If you watch American news, it can be hard to get a sense of what's really going on, but it looks bad.
The dead are left to rot. The city smells of bodies. It's too dangerous to retrieve them. The lucky are only shot in the leg. Gangs have seized 80% of Port-au-Prince.
The way that Haiti's being described now is really extreme, like a UN human rights expert saying what's happening is catastrophic. Port-au-Prince is now an open-air prison because people can't leave, and the gangs are in charge, essentially. Would you agree with that?
Yes and no. I mean, as a friend of mine says, something like that, right? In Haiti, nothing is clear cut. And I'm not going to say it's theatrics or theater, but it's complicated.
It's complicated because things in Haiti have been bad for years. The difference now is that power is being challenged in the capital. And slowly but surely, Harold's world is growing smaller.
Before, I could take my car and drive anywhere in the country. No worries whatsoever. And today, I can barely go beyond 10, 15 miles.
What happens when you do?
Well, you risk falling in gangland. You risk exposing yourself. Before, I would go 150 miles. I could go to the beach. I haven't been to the beach in a long time. I can't. You're secluded right now. You're locked down in Port-au-Prince.
Are you leaving your house?
Yeah, I do. I mean, so like in and around probably Pétionville and certain other areas. And Pétionville is the city where I am. There would be considered as a green zone of sorts.
Like the gangs aren't in charge?
Yet.
Huh.
Yet.
Today on the show, a power vacuum opens up in Port-au-Prince. Are the gangs the only ones who can fill it? I'm Mary Harris. You're listening to What Next? Stick around. This episode is brought to you by Discover. When it comes to your finances, Discover wants you to know they are the credit card that is always there for you. With 24/7 U.S.-based live customer service, everyone has the option to talk to a real person anytime, day or night. Yep, that means no more waiting for, quote, normal business hours just to get a hold of someone. We are talking real service from real people whenever you need it. Get the customer service you deserve with Discover. Limitations apply. See terms at discover.com/creditcard. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. A lot of us spend our lives wishing we had more time. The question is, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so you can do more of it. Therapy is a really useful tool for getting to know yourself better. And that's really important because you are going to be there your whole life long. If you're thinking of starting therapy, BetterHelp is a new way to do it. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You can just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time with no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/whatnext today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/whatnext. You could start the story of Haiti's current crisis a number of places. For Harold, he says he realized things were taking a turn back in 2018 when a series of riots over fuel prices seemed to spiral out of control. After that, he says, people began to wall themselves off from each other. Then, in 2021, things shifted again. First in February, that's when then-President Jovenel Moïse refused to hold new elections to replace him or any other state officials. Then in July, Moïse was assassinated in his home. But 2 days before that, he'd named a famous brain surgeon, Ariel Henry, as his pick for prime minister. So Henry took over.
What happened is Ariel Henry was tapped into the job 2 days before his assassination, right?
Huh.
So what happened is for a few days, it was mayhem. It was chaos, trying to decipher and determine who is running the place, right? Eventually, he took power. And from that point on, we became in that total anomaly because he was just a prime minister. People tend to forget that, but he was just a prime minister. And as per the Haitian constitution, a prime minister has two parents, the president and the parliament. So the president can fire him, the parliament can fire him, right? And none of them were present anymore. I mean, because Jovenel Moïse did not make elections to renew the parliament the terms expired, and then Jovenel Moïse died, so there was no more president. So Ariel Henry became this huge anomaly where he was his own person, his own boss.
And he assumed that role with support from the international community.
Yes, but I think that while the U.S. was trying to lead from behind along with the international community, not trying to at least outright meddling, with anything in Haiti, they were also trying to back themselves with some level of legality. Because as he had been tapped by, Jovenel Moïse 2 days before his death, he was maybe one of the last person with a seeming legitimacy.
Did the Haitian people embrace him?
Well, it's complicated. So what happens is, obviously he had very vocal people against him. But my personal belief is that he had a tacit thumbs up from key sectors in the society who told themselves that, one, there is absolutely no way that we would have elections anytime soon. We hadn't had elections since 2016. And that, let's say the country is very sick and there are things that needs to be fixed before we even think of getting to elections. So as such, he had some leeway.
But time went on and Ariel Henry kept delaying elections. Meanwhile, gang violence in and around Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, was increasing.
The gangs have kind of always been a staple of Haitian society, sadly. I mean, they've always been weaponized politically to quell dissent in popular neighborhoods, to sway votes, one way or the other. And what has happened over the last few years is that they've turned in full-blown criminal enterprises. Racketeering, kidnappings, murder, you name it, massacres, right? And part of that has been because their firepower has tremendously increased. Think about it. Most of these gangs, they're kids, between 13 and 20 years old. They're young, they're poor, right? Sometimes they don't even have shoes. They cannot eat, yet they have a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 gun with them. And not only that, they have the ammunition that comes with it. So this is what happened. And this is how they became in this unusual position, because their firepower has increased so much that they are now in a position of power that even the state cannot, at least seemingly, contain.
In late 2022, Henri asked the international community for help tamping down Haiti's gangs. Eventually, the United Nations authorized a deal where some 1,000 Kenyan police officers were set to go into Haiti to stabilize the country. But the plan got tied up in the Kenyan courts. At the end of last month, Henri flew to Kenya to try to close the deal. And back in Haiti, mayhem ensued. Gangs in Port-au-Prince attacked state institutions, looting the seaports and closing down roads. They also targeted jails around the capital, killing police officers and releasing thousands of prisoners. And most importantly, according to Harold, they closed down the airport.
For everybody I know, this was like the red line. Because the airport has always been considered off limits. Why? Because both good guys and bad guys go through the airport. Right? So as such, it was totally unthinkable that they would ever dare, because, they have their own sponsors that would need the airport, would ever do that. And now we're cut off from the world.
And when Ariel Henry tried to return to Haiti from Kenya, things went from bad to worse. He couldn't land at the airport, of course, but he was also told he couldn't land in the neighboring Dominican Republic.
As he was on his way back, Dominican media started reporting that a plane has been denied access to their airspace to land, and that airplane was carrying Ariel Henry. So then we kind of reverse engineered and realized that he had left Teterboro in New Jersey, and that he was trying to come down through the DR, and that the plane was denied. And now we could see with the tracking apps, we could see that he went instead to Puerto Rico. And then journalists in Puerto Rico rushed to the scene and saw that he was stranded on the plane, negotiating. And the next day, the Miami Herald, in an explosive reporting from Jacqueline Charles, kind of gave the minute-by-minute almost detail of how that happened. And that while he was hovering near the Dominican Republic, that he received a call from the State Department saying, you need to resign, and that he refused. And then he landed in Puerto Rico. So it was really really chaotic, and very frantic.
My understanding from the reporting is part of what changed on the ground in Haiti to create this situation was that the gangs who had been disparate, operating on their own, united, and they formed this alliance called Living Together. Do you think that was important to what happened next?
Well, it became important because somehow, they obtained what we were requesting, which was the resignation of Prime Minister Henry.
Yeah.
The gangs are trying to take on a role that is unusual for them, which is to run the whole place, because they're not legitimate forces, right? And even if you look at what they've done, even in the past couple of weeks, they would go and attack symbols of the state, destroy substations, attack police officers. But they cannot go and say, we occupy that space and this is ours and you have to deal with us. They're still masked, So they're pushing the envelope.
Have the gangs ever been as strong as they are now?
No.
Does that scare you? I mean, you're a Canadian citizen, so, like, if you wanted to go back to Canada, could you?
You know, I never think of it like that. I mean, this is home to me, and I'll tell you to which point. Even if I physically go to Canada myself, and I take my family, but I still have friends here. I still have family. You know, what would happen to these people that cannot go? How would I feel? I mean, I know how I would feel. I would feel miserable that I did not stood ground with them. Listen, Haiti has 11 million people, so not everybody will leave. And while they're here, they have to figure it out. They have to figure out how they stay.
When we come back, who exactly will lead the country now? This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Let's face it, sometimes multitasking can be overwhelming. Like when your favorite podcast is playing and the person next to you is talking and your car fan is blasting, all while you're trying to find the perfect parking spot. But then again, sometimes multitasking is easy, like quoting with Progressive Insurance. They do the hard work of comparing rates so you can find a great rate that works for you, even if it's not with them. Give their nifty comparison tool a try, and you might just find getting the rate and coverage you deserve is easy. All you need to do is visit Progressive's website to get a quote with all the coverages you want, like comprehensive and collision coverage or personal injury protection. Then you'll see Progressive's direct rate, and their tool will provide options from other companies, all lined up and ready to compare, so it's simple to choose the rate and coverages you like. Press play on comparing auto rates. Quote at Progressive.com to join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. This episode is brought to you by SAP. First, the bad news. SAP Business AI will not help you generate cubist versions of your family's holiday photos, but it will help you understand which supplier is best to help you roll out your plant-based packaging in Southeast Asia, or identify the training your junior project manager needs to rise up the ranks, or automate repetitive tasks while you focus on big innovations. So you can be ready for the next opportunity. Revolutionary technology, real-world results. That's SAP Business AI. Can we talk about the people who are jockeying for control of the country? Like, I wonder if we can start with the gang leader who got people working together under this alliance, Jimmy Cherizier. A lot of people just know him as Barbecue.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Jimmy Cherizier is a former police officer turned notorious gang leader. He is sanctioned by the UN, the US, I think the Brits, Canada, I think, for the La Saline massacre, where is reportedly killed over 70 people. And that was, if I'm not mistaken, in 2018. One of his sad hallmark is in 2022, when he literally bring the country on the brink of collapse and on its knees after blocking the main oil terminal for 7 weeks, you know, starting around mid-September till early November. And that has led to a resurgence of cholera. It has led to economic dismay. It led to, you know, everything being blocked from transport to everything. You know, it was a really, really bad time. And so he's a kind of boogeyman. So after saying, oh, you know, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a reprieve, everybody took it. And then he disappeared. You know, he vanished of sorts until he reappeared, you know, in the last few weeks, like attacking the government.
Following the attacks on the Capitol, the international community has said they will create a presidential transition council made up of 7 members of Haiti's different political factions. Its goal is to set up democratic elections and to run the country in the meantime. But whether the gangs and gang leaders like Barbecue will go along with the council remains to be seen.
And I think that in Haiti, I mean, voices speak loud, but silence speaks louder. The very fact that during the talks, everything went calm down is telling. That he is in a kind of an observational round. And just before we got into this recording, there was a voice note of his going around where he basically warns everybody going into that council to behave. And he said, the hatred he had for Henri is nothing compared to the hatred he has for all these politicians rushing into the council, and that they need to have their families in Haiti because they need to endure whatever so basically he's warning them to behave, but I haven't heard him say that he wanted to run the country.
Well, even if he doesn't want to lead, there's something to the fact that he has power and a constituency and people working for him. And even if he himself might not want to be in charge, perhaps he does want something behind the scenes, whether it's immunity for what he's done or something else.
Well, something like that. I mean, and then again, in Haiti, it's never clear cut. Clearly last couple weeks he had a momentum. And then the minute people got a reprieve, everybody rushed into having their daily lives, into resuming their daily lives, So they understand that he formulates some sort of a veto power of sorts. But at the same time is also, and he knows it, that is restricted, is limited into what he can do. I mean, you said he has constituents. He's not elected. So,
right.
he controls an area, all right, a patch of Port-au-Prince. But to say that his power extends beyond that is, it may be misleading. He has a sort of disruption power.
Is there any way to put together a leadership transition that Haitians would trust?
Well, everybody's waiting for the finalized list that has yet to be communicated, because that's the object of gossip. And folks are like asking who's going to do what. We have an indication of a few names, and they seem to be, kind of long-serving operatives or politicians, But listen, I mean, for the average person, we're going from one head of state to 7, in that shape and form. And they have to deliver on security and elections within the next 2 years. Because in the meantime, the constitutional clock is ticking. And normally, if there were a president alive right now, his term would technically end on February 7th of 2026. So whatever needs to happen by then. Otherwise, you're going to plunge in another cycle of crisis, as you're still under that constitution that, folks are arguing needs to be updated, changed, and that too, you cannot do overnight like that. So, we are in a very complicated and complex situation. And honestly, I don't think it's going to get resolved overnight.
One journalist who covers Haiti said that there's only one playbook in the international community for dealing with your country. Like, the first step is demand elections. Like, come in and be like, we got to have democratic elections. Step 2, get the multinational force ready to back whatever acceptable government is in place for now. And then third step, when the new government is not useful, get a new one. Do you agree with that? And I guess I wonder, do you see any signs the international community might be diverting from this plan?
What I can say is that there's a lot of resentment against an international community, especially countries claiming to be friends of Haiti. Why? It's because people here believe they've been complicit of the degeneration of the situation, because they've been supporting blindly whatever government that would be there on the premise that you need stability, you cannot have multiple voices. And I think for the U.S. specifically, the biggest resentment is that they let what happened at the airport happen, because folks would never believe that such a thing could be possible under America's watch.
You mean the control of the airport now?
Yeah, or the lack of thereof, because the airport has been attacked. So hearing that Marines are deployed to protect the embassy, but they couldn't do nothing to either bring back Ariel Henry as the sitting head of state, for one, or protecting the airport facilities with their firepower.
So to Haitians, it looks like America is protecting itself, but no one else.
But left the Haitians to fend for themselves.
Yeah. Does Haiti feel abandoned right now by the U.S.?
Most people I know understood that they need to only count on themselves. Nobody's going to come. I mean, we've seen the images of Afghanistan when people were falling off planes. Like, we understood, that people are like, well, nobody's coming for us.
Do you have a Haiti of your imagination? Like, when you think about 20 years from now, do you have an ideal timeline? Something you're looking for, waiting for, hoping for?
Well, I would answer this that way. Being in Haiti is an act of resistance. And for me and my friends, this is how we see it. And we contribute any way we can. Myself, I took on the duty of informing the world of what's going on at best of my capacity. Other folks I know, they run businesses. They have hundreds of employees working for them. They have to keep hope going for them. So Haiti is not something in the future for us. It's something now. It's something every day that we thrive for. Our country is hurting. We are hurting because we cannot do what we used to. I mean, to me, I take it to a very simple image. I'm living on an island and I cannot go to the beach. And when you go to the beach, it goes to show you that despite every problem that there is a little bit of a reprieve. There's a little bit of relaxation that you can enjoy. But now what I do, and that happens to some of my friends, is that we turn our eyes to the sky. And at night, I take pictures of the sunset, whatever I can touch, because I feed myself with the positive energy that I can get here. Because my country is a beautiful country, no matter what people are saying. It is a truly beautiful country that is going through a lot.
You sound remarkably unfreaked out.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
Tested and proven. I think that having lived here for so many years and understanding the role of Haiti in human history, because we were the first Black republic and we've obtained our independence in struggle after being enslaved for 299 years, I come to understand that if there is a possibility or even a remote possibility for me to be here, I have to be here.
It sounds like there's no place else you'd rather be.
There's no place else I'd rather be.
Harold, I'm so grateful for your time and for your reporting. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Harold Isaac is a Canadian Haitian independent journalist. And that's the show. If you're a fan of what we're doing here at What Next, the best way to support our work is to join Slate Plus. Go on over to slate.com/whatnextplus to sign up. What Next is produced by Paige Osburn, Elena Schwartz, Rob Gunther, Anna Phillips, and Madeline Ducharme. We are led by Alicia Montgomery with a little boost from Susan Matthews. Ben Richmond is the Senior Director of Podcast Operations here at Slate. And I'm Mary Harris. Thanks for listening. Catch you back here next time.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.